Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful evening. My name is Jessica Hemingway. I'm the outreach coordinator for California State Summer School for the Arts, and we are joined by the wonderful chair of music, Valerie Stern. I don't know if you want to wave or say hi, Valerie. Lovely wave. We're here to talk to you about the CSSSA music program. We have a short slide presentation for you. We'll talk to you about kind of the ins and outs of the program, what a day looks like, what the schedule looks like, and then we'll talk about the application process and everything that you'll have to do. And then at the end of the slide presentation, which will be really quick, there will be time for questions, so you can go ahead and put your question in the chat, or you can be so bold as to unmute and ask your question with your voice. Whatever you want to do, no pressure, no pressure. But without further ado, let's get into it. So the CSSSA Music Department is really incredible. You're going to explore a diverse array of musical genres that reflect our multicultural society. The curriculum includes courses in music theory, music appreciation, composition, African drumming and dance, Indonesian gamelan, private instruction, and ensemble collaboration. So you're really getting an incredibly well-rounded musical education during this program. And then faculty and visiting artists are leading professionals in their field, and you get a chance to work with them one-on-one. I'm going to toss it over to Valerie so that she can give you an idea of day-to-day music program and any more specifics you want to pepper in, Valerie.
Okay. Everybody hear me okay? Great. Okay, first of all, thank you for being here and attending this information session. If you're here, then I'm guessing that you have some sort of interest in attending CSSSA or helping one of your students or children through the application process to attend CSSSA. CSSSA really is a phenomenal program, and I'm really proud to be the chair. And just to touch on what Jessica was saying about the wide range of curriculum that we have, it really is a unique program in that way. And just a little bit about me, my background is in classical piano. I studied, I got my bachelor's and master's degrees in piano performance from USC, and then a doctorate in piano from UCLA. So my background is in classical. And if you had asked me when I was in high school what I wanted to be, I would say I wanted to be a concert pianist. Now, I am a concert pianist. I play the piano in concert stages and I travel for that, but it really is only a small facet of what I do as a musician. And I've found that my career has taken so many different turns. I do pop music, I play in a restaurant, I do film and TV work. I work with a keyboard company called Roland, a very big company, doing as a demo artist for their new products. And a lot of things that I never imagined myself doing. And CSSSA is the kind of program that I really wish that I would have been exposed to in high school. I didn't even know about it. Just the fact that you are exposed to courses in all of these different disciplines within music, and you're working alongside people who have just really cool careers in music. And I think you learn things that you might not in maybe a more traditional program. That being said, the day-to-day schedule is rigorous. We are very busy. We work really, really hard. Classes start at 9 a.m. 5 days a week, and 9 or 10 a.m. on Saturdays. So we are in class 6 days a week. It's a busy schedule. Evenings are taken up by ensembles, which are optional, as well as occasional visiting artists. But pretty much your day is taken up with classes. Morning classes are composition, African drumming and dance, Indonesian gamelan. Afternoon classes are music theory and music appreciation, along with your private instruction. And of course, plenty of practice time built in. Does anybody have any questions about that so far? Or anything you want me to add, Jessica?
I think that's great. I love that you talked about the actual schedule, what they can expect once they, hit the ground running at CSSSA. That's always good to know, especially when class will start, right at 9 a.m. We're starting, you're getting up early, but you're doing something you love, right?
Yes, yes. And I can obviously I was not a student at CSSSA, but having taught there for several years and being the chair, this is my second year as the chair, I really see that students come out of this program like changed for the better, just having a really transformative experience, being able to immerse themselves in art and music and creativity. And it's just a really wonderful opportunity. So
Absolutely.
yes, we do hit the ground running though. It is, it's a lot of class.
Okay, let's talk about the application process. So, your music assignment A is going to be an audition video recording. You're going to record yourself, either a vocal or instrumental performance of two contrasting pieces. The maximum length combined of both of these pieces should be 6 minutes. You want to begin with introducing yourself, your instrument, your years of study, and the work you'll perform. And it's of note that we must be able to see you play or see you sway or sing. You can't turn the camera around and then start your performance. So Valerie, do you have anything you want to say, tips and tricks about this audition video?
Yeah, sure. So yes, we ask for two different pieces of your choice, with the combined length being 6 minutes. You might find that pieces you play, say on your violin, are more than 3 minutes. That's okay. Just try to cut them down to an excerpt that's quick for us to listen to. So that might mean making cuts that make sense, and that's totally fine and totally acceptable. One requirement that we do have for this audition is we prefer that you do not submit works that you composed.
Mm.
Okay, so you can do classical music, you can do jazz, you can do musical theater, you can do pop music. The genres are endless, but they have to, it's not, we don't do original music for the application. Original music, of course, you can do while you're at CSSSA, but not for the application.
And I'll ask Valerie, in this 6 minute length maximum, does the introduction also count? So should they aim to make this entire video 6 minutes, or is it okay if it goes over a little bit?
It's okay if it goes over a little bit. Really, it's not super strict. It's um just having, a good idea of what makes sense. Your introduction is just only going to be a few seconds,
Mm.
and you don't have to play your pieces in the same video either. You can do one and then you can do your best take of the second one and tack it on to the end of it. As long, I mean, around 6 minutes is great. If it's 7 minutes, you're not going to be disqualified. Um, if it's 4 minutes, that's fine too. It's just a general guideline, so it can go over 6 minutes.
Wonderful. And I'll also add, been saying this in all of the disciplines where you have to submit an audition video. It's so important to review your audition video before you submit it, make sure everything is in order. The angles are right. We've had videos submitted where people are askew and then, you spend the whole time watching like that. So definitely remember to review the video before you click submit. That's my piece of advice.
Thank you for that, Jessica. And make sure that you're uploading the right file. That's happened before too, where I got a written assignment that was like someone's paper for school and had nothing to do with CSSSA.
No. Too bad. You gotta, yeah, review all of your materials, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. Music assignment B, you're going to upload a separate document answering the following questions. Why do you want to attend CSSSA, and what do you think you'll contribute to the music program? Any length on this document as well, Valerie?
There's no required length for this, but this is our chance to get to know you a little bit more personally. Yes, we're gonna have some people submit their transcripts and their audition videos and letters of recommendation, but this is where you can talk about your goals and what you want to explore creatively. And I really enjoy reading this part of the application. This is where I kind of, get to see you as an individual. So there's no length, but do take some thought, take some time to think about these questions, and why you think this is going to help you grow, or what can you contribute creatively. What ideas do you have? Like, I always think that CSSSA is a great program for students who have ideas and want the motivation and the time and the collaboration to put those ideas into effect. So talk about those in your written assignment. I look forward to that.
Thank you, Valerie. So of note, you're welcome to use an accompanying track for your audition recording, definitely. And then if you are applying for more than one instrument, you are going to have to submit multiple applications, and students will be accepted in one instrument only. So if you're one of those musical jack of all trades, you do piano and violin and percussion, and you want to go for either three, you will have to submit a application for each instrument. But don't worry, just copy and paste all of the other, info that you have. You can use the same references if you need, but know that if you are interested in more than one instrument, you will have to submit more than one application for that instrument. Anything else to add, Valerie?
Yes, I guess the only thing that I wouldn't copy and paste is your written statement.
Yes.
Because I think each example of your writing should be tailored to the instrument that you're applying for. Some of your reasons might overlap, some of your things might be the same, but if you're applying in violin and you're applying in, jazz flute, you want to tweak that statement for each application.
And Valerie, are you okay if they are applying in more than one instrument, they use the same piece of music, just, with a different instrument? Or does it have to be a whole different piece of music that they're going to be submitting?
I think it would be fine to use the same piece of music. In the past, when I have gotten applications in more than one instrument, they haven't been playing the same piece of music. But if that applies to you, then that's totally fine. And your recommendations can be the same also. Ideally, you'd have, I think we asked for 2 letters of recommendation. Is that correct?
Actually, we just in an effort to make the application more accessible, we're only asking for references. So just put down the reference of someone you would ask, but you don't actually have to ask them for a letter this year.
Okay. I'm sorry, I did not know that. References can, yes, they can be the same for each application.
Wonderful. And with these references, if we have any questions about your application, we'll contact them, but not everybody will be contacted. So all we need is name and email. That's it. And then for any returning students that are on this Zoom, if you want to return in the music program, we would like you to submit a brief statement, 150 words or less, on your reasons for wishing to return to CSSSA, explain your learning objectives for having a second experience. And then all assignments that you submit must be new. And also it's of note that priority is given to new students who haven't had an experience at CSSSA yet. So we would like, if you want to return, we want to know why you want to come, basically. Anything else to add, Valerie?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it. Just to clarify though, this is in addition to the other, the rest of the complete application.
Yes, thank you for the clarification. All right, so that is it for our slide presentation. I'm going to stop the share and then let's dig into some of these questions. I'll spotlight you, Valerie, and I'll spotlight myself as well. And then let's see, we have a question in the chat.
I see the chat.
So we have a vocalist who's asking a question. Is it all right to sing English covers of songs that are not originally in English? And also for the accompanying track, is it required to choose an instrumental track, or can there be someone else singing along with them?
Okay, I'll start with your first question. Absolutely, you can sing an English cover of a song that wasn't originally in English. You could sing in a different language if you want. That's totally fine. Very open with that. The second question was, does it have to be an instrumental accompaniment track? The answer is no. It can be anything as long as it's clear who's actually your voice, where your voice is. Okay, so make sure that your voice is showcased and that you are not accompanying a bunch of other voices and I don't even know who's singing, if that makes sense. But yeah, of course.
And
Thanks for that
sometimes,
question.
yeah, of course. Oh, we have another question here, also from a vocalist. And they're wondering if you have to be able to read music. They've been singing for about 14 years, but have never learned how to read music. Is that a requirement to be in the program?
That is also an excellent question. I would say that every year we do have a small percentage of musicians who don't read music. You will find that during your time at CSSSA, you will learn to read music. Where you might notice your growth is going to be in theory class. Okay, so at the beginning of CSSSA, we do take an exam. I shouldn't call it an exam. It's a placement test to put you in a theory course that is appropriate for your level. And there's always a theory course that includes students who don't read music. And because it's true out there, we have a lot of insanely talented vocalists and instrumentalists too who don't read music. You will learn to read music while you're at CSSSA, but it's not a requirement for applying to the program.
Wonderful. We have another question here. Can a student apply as a composer, and what kind of opportunities are there for composers?
I will actually answer your second question first. There are a lot of opportunities for composers at CSSSA. We've had really talented people come through this program, and we've had students compose for the ensembles, like the jazz ensemble, if that's something you're interested in. We've had students compose for obviously composition class. That's a big part of it. And in those classes, in the composition classes, you are not limited to composing in a certain style. So you can come and you can bring your own work and your own ideas, and you could kind of do whatever you want. As far as applying as a composer, we don't have a specialty yet for that. In the future, one of the things I'd like to maybe add to the program is a concentration in music production, which would definitely include a composition element, and you doing, I guess, working with somebody who, yeah, exactly, composing on a computer with software for video games and film. We don't have that yet, but if you do play an instrument, you can apply and you can submit, you can talk about in your statement about your composing and your composing goals as well. So you can, and if you pass through the audition on your instrument, you can come and you can compose at CSSSA, but we don't have that as a concentration yet. I see also in the chat, wondering if there are collaborative opportunities with the film students. I know that last year and in other years, we've done collaborations between music students, composition students, and animation. So the music students worked together to score a work done by the animation department, which was really awesome. And there's also the interdisciplinary, which is that happening this year?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay. I assumed it was, but I just want to make sure. Every year we have someone come and take students from all the departments and create collaborative groups, and they work together across these different disciplines. So you might be working with a film student, you might be working with a creative writing student, visual artists and dancers to create a multidisciplinary project. Is there anything else you want to add on that, Jessica?
Yeah, I would say interdisciplinary is an incredible collaborative opportunity for students that are in their discipline who are also interested in working with other disciplines, interested in, not only kind of playing the role in their discipline, but maybe something else. Sometimes we always have kids who, you know, come into CSSSA in one discipline and they get into that interdisciplinary collaboration. And, if they are a writing student, they're writing, but they're also acting, or they're also, playing an instrument. And the person who runs the interdisciplinary collaboration, she tries to foster that spirit of collaboration. And you're not just limited to collaborating in the discipline that you came into. If you have other interests, you're more than welcome to explore that as well. And then I would also say that, since CSSSA is a community, students find their own ways of collaborating too. So animation students and film students, they're always asking actors to be in their films. They're always asking music students to score their films. They will put up posters like, hey, I have this film and I need some music for it. And that's like a perfect opportunity if there is a music student that's interested in, composition, for them to work with each other. And so there's always stuff that happens like that around CSSSA.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's dig
Lots
back.
of spontaneous collaboration just happens all the time.
Totally. That's like kind of the spirit of
It's
CSSSA.
so cool. It's great.
There's a question here that's, is there a placement audition after acceptance, upon arriving to CSSSA? So after registration, is there any sort of placement that's not music, or in addition to music theory?
Nope. That's the only one where your class, the class that you're placed into is determined by the placement test. Yeah.
Wonderful. There's another question in the chat. Are students able to learn new genres of music? For example, like jazz, if they have no experience in jazz, will they be able to learn how to be a jazz musician?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the great things about our evening ensembles. Every year we have an improv ensemble and we have a jazz ensemble. And these are open to anybody who wants to participate. Even if you've never improvised a day in your life, you can step into this improvisation ensemble, and our teacher Stan will give you all these tips and tricks to like find that improvising voice inside you and become confident in that way. And sort of the same thing with the jazz ensemble. That's more strictly like a jazz kind of thing. We have students who have never touched jazz step into the jazz ensemble and learn all about it and perform and do it.
Amazing. What performance opportunities are available for music students during their experience at CSSSA?
Pretty much every single class has some sort of performance during the final week of CSSSA. So that means during your first 3 weeks of this 4-week program, for example, in your composition classes, you're going to be working up, 1 or 2 or 3 works with a group or by yourself, and those will be performed during the last week. Your African drumming and dance class will also have a performance during the last week in the main gallery at Cal Arts. Same thing with Indonesian gamelan. And these performances are so incredible. I'm blown away. You've seen them too, obviously, Jessica. It's just like incredible that these students have learned so much about these cultures and can perform with so much confidence. And it's so amazing. We also have ensemble concerts. The ensemble concerts are where the improv and the jazz ensembles perform, as well as if you're involved in any chamber music or any other small groups while you're at CSSSA. If you get involved in anything, you'll perform an ensemble. We also have a solo concert. Solo concerts would be if you're a pianist and want to perform something, if you're a cellist and want to perform something, if you want to do something on your solo instrument, solo concert. If you're a vocalist, we also have we call it the vocal scenes concert, which is a collaboration between the voice students and the piano students. And everybody performs. All the
Mm,
voice students and piano students perform here. And so all the things they've been collaborating with in the previous weeks will get to be showcased during that last week.
wonderful. Can you talk about if there is any kind of musical theater scene in the music department?
When you say scene, you mean like
Maybe this the person who's asking this question could elaborate. I'm taking this question as like, what is the musical theater component if there is one? Are you able to do songs from like musical theater shows, or
yeah, a lot of our vocalists will come and musical theater is their thing. So our voice teachers will work with you on your voice and the songs from different musicals that you're interested in performing. And a lot of actually a big component of the vocal scenes performance that during that last week is a lot of musical theater. So either big collaborative numbers or solos or duets or trios, small groups, a lot of stuff from musical theater. So
Wonderful. Can you talk about what kind of guest artists come to CSSSA and share their work in the music department? And is it mostly just performances, or are there other ways that these guests interact with the students?
it really varies. Thinking back to what we had last year, one of our guest artists was a keyboardist who tours with Christina Aguilera and Madonna. And I feel like there was one other big name that I'm forgetting. And he performed a little bit. He talked about his background studying classical piano and then getting into pop. And he talks about how he hears music and did a listening exercise with the students about, when he hears a track, and he does pop music, he does all this, big hitting pop music. And he just played some tracks and had the students listen like, oh, what do you hear there? And he was picking it out on the piano as their students were listening. So he was kind of did a little listening exercise with them in addition to just talking and being an incredible artist. We also had a guy who's from a musical theater background who came and did a master class with some of our vocalists, and that was for all the music students to attend. So he talked about singing several different songs in different styles. So like, how would you tweak this song to be a country song? How would you do this in a rock style? How would you do it in a pop style? How would you do it in a classical style? And he had, in advance, we got about 5 participants from the voice studios to participate in that. And then we also had, so those were kind of talks, masterclass kind of things. And then we had an incredible singer-songwriter named Mike Viola do a performance and a songwriting masterclass. So a few of our students who write original music performed, and he talked with them and worked with them in addition to doing a performance with his guitar and of his original music. So stuff like that.
Yeah. And I should note that, we're really encouraging of students, going outside of their discipline and seeing performances or attending lectures in other departments, as long as it fits in your schedule, as long as you don't have anything else going on that you are required to do. If there is something that's happening, an animation screening, or a guest in theater, a guest in dance, and you're interested in that, you're more than happy, more than welcome to go attend that performance, attend that lecture. And we encourage it because I think it makes you a more well-rounded artist if you are aware of the other art forms that are going on around you. It's just my opinion.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah. It's just really incredible to have the opportunity to have all these artists from these different fields coming to CSSSA and presenting. And I mean, it's really a unique opportunity.
Yeah, totally. And on the vein of guest artists, I should also mention that music will do a field trip usually somewhere. I think last year you guys went to the Hollywood Bowl. And what did you see? Or who did
We
you?
saw Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue and the Dvorak New World Symphony
Oh,
at the Hollywood Bowl. And it's always a good time. We get on the buses and just hang out, and it's fun.
yeah, and that's a field trip that's just for the music program, which is like really amazing because not every department gets their own field trip. I'll just say that. So it's if you've never been to the Hollywood Bowl before and you come to CISA, this is your opportunity to, go to a cool venue like that and see some incredible, incredible music. Anybody else have questions? Drop them in the chat. Oh, okay, great. I have another question. So if you apply to get into the music department, but there's a dance class that they're really interested in, would they be allowed to go to that dance class? And I can give my perspective on this. Like I said before, you are allowed to go to anything that's open to all of the departments as long as it fits in your schedule. So if there is a schedule conflict, the answer is no. If you know that there is like a ballet class that's happening and you do have free time, it would be the kind of thing where you would have to go to the dance chair and ask if you could join. And it's kind of up to the chair of that program, even if it does fit in your schedule, if it's not open to the entire department, it's up to their discretion whether or not that you can participate. That's clear. There's another question in the chat. How many students in a dorm room? And I can answer this also. So you will be living in a dormitory, and you'll be sharing a room with, depending on how big the room is, either one other person or two other people. The rooms are pretty big in Chenard. And then the way they're set up is there will be two rooms that are connected by a bathroom. So you'll have suite mates. And you'll create a shower schedule and you'll learn, you'll get a little bit of a taste of what that college dorm life is like, the negotiation between roommates. And when you get into CISA, you'll be given a housing survey. So on that survey, you can state all of your housing preferences, who you would rather live with. I want to live with other music students. I don't want to live with any theater students. I want to live with only animators. You can put down all of those preferences there. And if you're going to CISA and you know another friend that's also going, you both can request to live with each other and we'll do our best to match you. So that's kind of what life in the dorms is like. Any other questions? Any other music questions, application questions? Send them to me now. This is a question that I've gotten in some of the info sessions I've done in schools. Is there any way that students or any opportunity for students to record music while they're at CISA?
Yes. Recording in what capacity exactly you can specify, but just to clarify, all of our performances are recorded professionally. We have equipment in our performance space that records all of the student performances, which is really, really excellent. As far as securing that equipment for other projects to record, I'm not really sure. And that would be something to, I believe if we were to use that, we would need to get the services of a recording engineer, which we do have, but it's not really in their contract to do stuff outside of the programs that we have. So I think it would kind of depend on what you're trying to record, when you're trying to record, and what your needs would be. Because we do have recording equipment at CalArts in the performance spaces. We don't have access to the recording studio at CalArts, I believe, although there is one, but that's not part of our contract.
Thank you. There's another question in the chat that is, do we have to pay for dorms or are they provided upon acceptance? And again, I'll answer this. Yes, they room and board and all of your supplies, all of your food is all included in your tuition. And I should also mention that we give out a lot of financial aid for students to attend the program. Over 50% of our student population are on full ride scholarships, and we're even hoping to up that to 60%. All you need to do to be considered for financial aid is to apply for financial aid. And the financial aid application is on the same application that you're going to fill out to apply for the program. At the end of it, it's going to ask, do you wish to be considered for financial aid? Click yes, fill out a little bit more information. You're going to upload copies of your parents' or guardians' tax information or other proof of income. And if they don't have that, I'm going to put an email in the chat, comments@cesa.ca.gov. Email us, let us know what your situation is. We'll work with what you got. No student is ever turned away due to their financial needs. So I'll put that information in the chat for you and apply for financial aid because we have so many scholarships available to offer students. We have another. Oh, go ahead.
Other wonderful things about CSSSA is that the state really wants you to go and attend and not deny you this awesome experience of going to CSSSA. So definitely consider applying for financial aid if you need it. I see a question in the chat. What would the typical flow of a day at CSSSA look like? I guess I will go for that one. So our regular class schedule happens Monday through Friday, and we have breakfast in the morning. It starts at like 7, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's early. 7 until until 9-ish. In music, our classes begin promptly at 9 a.m. every weekday. So and the classes in the morning are an hour long or just under an hour so that you have time to go to your next one. And you are in class from 9 to 12. You are on a rotation with a third of the music students. So you might have composition as your first class from 9 to 10. And then from 10 to 11, you'll be in Indonesian gamelan. From 11 to 12, you'll be in African drumming and dance. Okay, so every music student at CSSSA gets all those 3 classes in some order in the morning. And then we break for lunch, 12 to 1. The afternoons from 1 o'clock until 4 o'clock are really dependent on your instrument or your voice. That's your designated practice time. That's when your private lessons are going to be scheduled. A lot of our instructors also host studio classes where you'll meet with the other students in your instrument. I know that the voice teachers do a studio class every day. So that's at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The singers will all meet together and a couple of students will get up and perform in kind of a masterclass format. But 1 to 4 is where you're going to have your lessons and practice time. 4 o'clock, everybody goes to music theory from 4 to 5. And then at 5 o'clock, everybody goes to music appreciation. And at 6 o'clock, that's when you're going to break for dinner. And in the evenings, it really depends on what's going on. You might have mandatory rehearsals if you're a vocalist or pianist leading up to that vocal scenes concert I was talking about. Those kind of get more concentrated towards the end of the program. You might have ensemble rehearsals. Ensembles don't meet every night, but several nights of the week you can go to improv and or jazz. You can also practice in the evenings. You can hang out with your friends in the evenings. Or if we have a guest artist, you attend the guest artist presentation. So that's kind of the typical flow of a day. Yeah, great. I hope that helps.
Very comprehensive. Thank you, Valerie. There's a question in the chat. This is more for your chair opinion. For someone who is interested and does music production, who also sings and plays a few instruments, but not at a competitive level, what do you recommend in terms of what they go for or how they apply?
Well, that's a really good question. I think because you are going to, the way the program is structured is you do come to CSSSA with a concentration, and that concentration is your primary instrument. If you write music, you will have an opportunity to write music. If you play a different instrument, you'll probably have another opportunity to play another instrument as well. But you do have to have one concentration. So you have to pick one. It really is only a small percentage of your total CSSSA experience, that one instrument, but you do have to pick one. So say you play the guitar. If you feel like you're going to get the most out of playing guitar, if you love playing guitar the most, you can audition on guitar. Okay. But definitely in your statement part of your application, talk about your other goals in music and talk about the other things that you can offer. Maybe you'll come to CSSSA as a guitarist, but you'll also write your own songs. You'll also sing. You'll also have the opportunity to do those things, but you do have to pick one instrument to focus on. But definitely expand on all of your unique abilities and experience and your goals in your written statement. So that's, like I said, that's a part where I get to know you a little bit better, and anyone who reads it gets to know you a little bit better.
Wonderful. How many spots are in the music department? How many students do you accept?
Last year we had, I want to say, about 56 students. We accepted maybe 70-ish, in the 70s, I want to say. Not everybody accepts the acceptance and actually attends, but we had around 56, I think between 50 to 65 students is what we're aiming for a CSSSA class.
Great. And how do you assess applications when you receive them?
So we consider everything that's there, and each application is given a score based on originality, musicality, ability, and potential. Those kinds of factors. I do have a more specific rubric. And if you get a certain score on the application, you are accepted. I will also add that, maybe Jessica, you can touch on this a little bit too. One of the goals of this program is to have our demographics really reflective of the demographics of the state of California. So we try to draw from as many counties of the state as possible. Now, that doesn't mean you have priority if you're in one county over another, but we do take these things into consideration. We want to have a very diverse representation of students in our population because we want to represent the state of California as closely as possible.
Yeah. And I would add, I get this question a lot when, I'm speaking in schools and at programs, that if students can be on a more beginner level to come to CSSSA, or do they have to be, have been practicing for years and be a prodigy? And the way that I answer this question is, just like Valerie stated on the assessment, we're, looking for potential. We're looking for people who add to this community. So we're not pulling from just cream of the crop. That's it. There's nothing to learn. We want people who have potential. We want people who, most importantly, have interest, have that spark of creativity. And if you're on the more beginner scale, we just want to be able to know that you will be able to rise up to the rigorous schedule of CSSSA. So some beginners can do that. They can dive in with both feet and are able to keep up. And, some beginners struggle with that. So I say this to say, if you are more on the beginning scale, don't let that psych you out, definitely. But you want to make sure that you'll be able to keep up with the workload, because this is a college prep program. This is a, pre-professional program. You're going to be working a lot. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be work.
Yes, definitely.
There's another question in the chat. Is there a choir in this program?
There is not an official choir, although our vocalists do, every year they perform a couple of numbers as a whole. So last year we had like 21 singers, which was big. We had a lot of vocalists last year, and we did have them all up there performing maybe 2 or 3 numbers as a full ensemble. So that's the closest thing we have to a choir.
And another question I see in the chat is, what is the acceptance rate of your program? Valerie, do you happen to know that offhand?
I don't know.
CSSA doesn't tend to publish acceptance rates. We don't want to foster that spirit of competitiveness and have you get in your head. But generally, what our director, Matthew Gallagher, says about acceptance rate is that, it's kind of about half the people who apply get in. Certain programs are a little bit more competitive than others. I would say the most competitive program that we offer is animation, just because we're at CalArts and people want to, want that CSIT at CalArts pipeline. But, you shouldn't let that psych you out. Shouldn't think about acceptance rate. You should just, go for it. Show us who you are and why you want to come to CSSA. That's what.
Yeah, and I guess adding on to what you were saying a little while ago about the, assessing the applications. I mean, yes, we do have some beginners applying for the program and some beginners who have really, really strong applications because they're showing their creativity, they're showing their desire to learn and their drive and their ideas. And when we see that you can offer that to our program and we can tell that you're the right kind of student for this program, like, it really says a lot. So don't let these like numbers and the fact that you've only been playing for a year discourage you from applying, because there's a lot of room for a lot of different kinds of creativity at CSSA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else have any other questions? Pop them in the chat or feel free to unmute and ask. We're coming close to the end of our time here. So anything else that's on your mind, on your heart, you want to ask, please put it in the chat. Ask away. And take advantage of the chair of the program that we have an audience with, I have another question that's just popped up in the chat. Is the music department of CSSA difficult to get into?
It can be, but I guess we've sort of been touching on that past few minutes. Like, I would say it's very subjective. That's a very subjective question. I think that it's on your end as an applicant, what you can do is put your best foot forward. Like, think hard about what you want to perform for your application, what's going to showcase you in the best way. And the best way is not necessarily the most technically difficult piece that in the world. Like, that's not going to impress us as much as your potential as an artist and what we think that you can offer the program.
Well,
Kind of a roundabout way to answer your question, but
sounds good. Can you talk about the kind of gender breakdown of the music department? Does it swing primarily female, or is there kind of a good hearty mix of different gender identities? And would you say?
I would say there's a very good mix of male, female, non-binary, transgender. We have it all in the music program. And I believe that CSSA also offers gender neutral housing as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. Again, on that housing survey, it will ask you where you want to be placed, and you get to dictate where you want to be. Another question has come into the chat. Do we have to memorize our piece for the audition?
No, you don't. I would advise that if your piece is not memorized, at least be comfortable enough to present it in a way that's, I guess, present it as if it were a performance. But many performers do use music in performances, and that's totally fine.
Wonderful.
I would choose something that you're relatively confident with, though, even if you're using music or lyrics or whatever you need is fine.
Great. And we did just talk about this. A question came in asking if there are mixed gender dorms. And yes, there are gender neutral options for you to choose from. You can choose those, or you can choose to, room with only female students or only male students. Again, it's on that housing survey. You dictate what you're most comfortable with, and how, where you want to live, where you want to be. Any other questions? Any other questions? Last call. Any other questions? Music related, CSSA related, anything? I'll ask you a question, Valerie. Do you have any advice for applicants on what makes a good application? What should they be focusing on while they're applying?
Well, applications are due the 29th of February, as I think that's been made clear at one point or another. If you're thinking about applying to CSSA, give yourself plenty of time to do that. I don't recommend making a video the night before or the day of the application deadline. Give yourself plenty of time. If you have some time this weekend or next weekend, record yourself and give it a couple days. Like, look back at your audition and think like, oh, is this something that I'm proud of? Is this something that I'm excited to submit? I want you to submit something that you're excited about. Okay, I think that because that's the kind of thing that really comes through in a strong application, is your passion and your excitement for what you're playing or singing. I also have talked quite a bit about that written assignment, which we look forward to reading and learning more about you. So again, don't leave that to the last minute either. Give it a few days, write something and then come back to it a day or two later and see, oh, how can I, how do I feel reading this back to myself? Would I want this person in my program? Like be your own critic for your application. And again, give yourself plenty of time, especially it's all online. So technical things could come up too. You don't want to have to deal with those kinds of stresses. So, just give yourself some space to get into that creative space.
It's fabulous advice. You definitely have the whole month of February to percolate and submit that audition. So I echo that advice. Submit it at least a week before the deadline so that you're not stressing at the last minute, clicking submit at 5:59. I know there are a lot of procrastinators out there. I am also one. So, try to go against the grain a little bit, and put some thought into that audition, and really feel proud of what you're submitting. Last call. We can take one more question and then we'll close it out. Thank you so much, Valerie, for being on with us, and thank you to everybody who's joined and who's asked so many great questions. Get those questions in. Anything else? We're doing more department info sessions. If there's somebody that who wanted to join tonight and couldn't, this will be available tomorrow on YouTube, on the CSSA YouTube channel. All you have to do is search CSSA. This will pop up a recorded version of what we're doing right now, so that you can rewatch, or you can send it to somebody who wasn't able to be here. We're doing other info sessions this month. We're doing a financial aid info session on the 12th. We're doing a just general info session on the 22nd. And then on the 28th and 29th, right before the application closes, we're doing office hours where we'll open the Zoom room. If you have any last minute questions, which hopefully you shouldn't because you will have already submitted, you can tune in and, get some feedback or get some, what am I asking for here? Get some validation, like, yeah, you can do it. Go ahead. What's up? Go on and do it. So, that will happen. You can sign up on our website, submit, apply, so you can have a summer with us this year. We would love to have you. Thank you so much, Valerie. Thank you, everybody that has joined. That's it. Let's close it out.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.